First of all, my name is David Hess. I'm the National Sales Director from Proficient. As you might guess, we're a Magento Gold partner. We're also an IT and digital agency firm, but we'll keep that brief. Proficient.com, tell you everything you need to know about that. Let's go ahead real quick on the next slide and have Ashley, if you'd like to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Sure. Hi, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Loom Decor. We are an online custom home furnishings company aimed at designers and DIY homeowners. And we basically offer a host of different home textiles, from window treatments to bedding to pillows. And what's really unique about us is that every single one of our products is customizable in over 400 different fabrics, not to mention additional options like trims. You can choose custom sizes, just a lot of different customizations. So whereas typically what you'd find in an e-commerce store, you've got simple products, you've got configurable products, maybe you can choose 6 different colors of a sweater in 3 different sizes. Each of our products has literally thousands of different combinations. And Kaushal actually going to be demoing a little bit of that, I think, in a couple questions. So you actually kind of see the beta site on Magento 2 live, and you can also visit loomdecor.com if you want to kind of see the first iteration that's currently on Magento 1.
Yeah, Kaushal, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Kaushal Shah. I'm the director of Magento practice at Proficient. Proficient is a full-service digital marketing agency and a commerce solution provider. I've been with the company for a little over 7 years now. So, overall in e-commerce, I have a little over 10 years of experience. Started off as a developer building e-commerce sites, and within Proficient, I was a program manager. I launched a number of Magento sites, so have been working on Magento starting 2008 or so. So a lot of experience there.
Great. We think, in this Magento 2 beta, it's our impression that this is one of the more extensive beta projects. So the demo that we're going to show you is just that. It is in beta. So if you're going to loomdecor.com on your mobile device right now, we have not gone live, but we've got a lot of great insights on what's really making 2.0 unique and has Ashley excited about it.
And you can see our live beta.loomdecor.com, and follow along with Kaushal if you'd like. Just doesn't have all the features and hasn't been fully designed yet for a live launch.
So Ashley, let's start off. Can you kind of tell the audience, where the inspiration essentially for Loom Decor came from initially?
Sure. So I had worked for an interior designer for a while, and during that period, I kind of got exposed to the amazing world of interior design furnishings, high-end furnishings. And I left that and said, wait a second, why can I not buy these anymore? I'm not allowed to buy them as a consumer. If I wanted to, the tools aren't out there. I can't visualize what it looks like. I don't know how much it costs. The process for ordering custom furnishings is extremely complex. It's a lot of paper pushing, a lot of faxing and phone calls and logistics work, whether you're a professional or a consumer. And I said, why can't we bring that online? This was, my idea actually came right on the heels of when Nike ID was launched years ago. I didn't launch any time near that, but Nike had kind of come up with this, you can customize your own shoes online. And I said, hey, people have been customizing home decor for years. It's kind of innate in the industry, and you can't do that online. We should make that happen. And that was the impetus for Loom Decor.
So the logical follow-up question on that is then why Magento?
Why Magento? Well, Magento 1, to speak to that, we really wanted an open source platform. As a startup, we wanted to make sure we were building on something that was cost effective. There were a lot of extensions, a big community out there, so we could continue to customize and extend the platform. We still wanted it to be scalable, of course, and we wanted to make sure there was a great developer community, so that if and when we wanted to bring an in-house team on, there would be resources out there to build that team, as well as external resources as well.
So we'll get Kaushal demoing in a moment, but as he gets into that, what were the driving forces behind the decision to go ahead and upgrade to Magento 2?
Couple things. One, responsive design. We went to Proficient and said, okay, it's time for an upgrade. We want to go responsive. And basically that was around the time that Magento 2 was being promoted for a beta project, and said, oh, okay, well, rather than going to 1.14, let's go to Magento 2 with its responsive themes. But really, just upgrading on Magento 1, it was really about the performance and database improvements. were really huge for us. Having such an extensive catalog of very, very deep, complex bundled products, if you're familiar with kind of Magento lingo is it is the most complex product type, and we kind of push that to its limits. So we needed that extra performance and that extra database performance. And it also, we really liked that it had been built in a way that was more scalable, where as we upgrade, as we continue to customize, we felt like it would be more maintainable and kind of more cost effective over the long term to continue to add new features. And as a startup, we're constantly doing that, constantly changing and shifting, and our needs change, and we need a really flexible platform. And I think Magento 2 is going to do that more effectively than Magento 1 did.
So Kaushal, we'd love to see a little bit more. As you maybe demo around a little bit, it'd be interesting to hear about why Lambda Core and their site is unique from some of the other projects.
Sure. So one of the biggest things is the visual configurator that we have on this site. So as Ashley mentioned, when someone is configuring a product, so be it drapery or duvet pillows and all these different fabrics, one of the challenges for us was how do we integrate that into Magento, and we are using Adobe Scene 7 for all the images. The second challenge was just how do we build this bundled product, right? Because every product is so unique. You have multiple different configurations for a product that you could design. So a pillow could have a front, back, and edge. A drapery could have a different trim. And each of these fabrics that we have here, they are categorized as either just basic fabric or premium luxury. And how do we add that markup? The pricing itself was pretty complex. So that really makes this project very unique. So I just want to show you what we've done here, especially on Magento 2. So one of the things now Magento 2 lets you associate images and videos directly with the product. So that's what we did here, and we've integrated Adobe Scene 7 to pull all the images directly into Magento. So when we click here, this is going to pull at runtime, pull all the images that we have in Adobe Scene 7. So it's all the folder structure that we have here. So all the images that we have, all the static images as well as all the vignettes, the configurable vignettes, all of them get pulled here within Magento. And our first technical glitch here.
So while you're talking about that or waiting on that, what's the developer, your team, what kind of feedback and insights have they've been giving you in terms of their experience in developing on 2?
So one of the first feedback that I got from the development team was that extending Magento or extending the core functionalities, the process has been simplified as compared to Magento 1. So that was a treat for the developers. Of course, there was some learning curve there. They had to unlearn a few things on how to customize or how to create some custom modules. What they did in Magento 1 was slightly different, so they had to unlearn that and relearn this. But this is much simpler and much quicker. So that was a treat. The other thing that comes up right away is the database optimizations. So again, as I was talking about the custom pricing, right? We are not using the Magento pricing tables. We created our own custom pricing tables. And just importing all that data, or even importing the options for bundle products, right? That is much quicker. Earlier, we had to rely on third-party scripts and other tools, like we used Magme from 1.x, and we constantly had to rely on the development team. But now it's easier for an admin user to quickly upload all this data. Yeah. So that's an advantage.
Have they brought up any concerns or challenges or anything like that?
The only concerns, again, as I mentioned, there was some learning curve there, and a few initial difficulties were around extensions. So we had a few extensions on 1.x, which were not available right away when we started developing Magento 2. So we had to wait a bit for that, and I think that those were the only challenges. So we were concerned whether we'll have to develop all this from scratch, or the extension would be available or not at that point.
Definitely.
And one of the things we all are hearing a lot about 2.0 is improvements in architecture, performance, stability. Thoughts on that, Kaushal, from the delivery perspective?
Yeah. So again, architect stability-wise, it's great. Scalability, I want to definitely touch upon. So the whole concept of Composer and the way we can upgrade. Of course, we haven't upgraded yet, but even things like security, patch deployment, all of that has been made much easier. So longer term, and as Magento releases more versions in a year, updating that will be easy. The other thing is that I'm really excited about is the possibility of splitting the database. So we constantly ran into performance as we added more products, and we had more customers come in, more orders. One of the concerns was the database. So the ability of splitting the database for products, checkout, orders, that is something I'm looking forward to, and that definitely makes it more scalable.
Okay. And then back to you, Ashley. I mean, from a business perspective, how do you see Magento 2 empowering you for your vision of where you want to go with Room Decor?
I mean, I kind of alluded to this a little bit, but to touch on what Kaushal said about scalability and maintainability, that's really a big deal. I mean, you can probably, maybe Kaushal can kind of click around on this page a little bit. Oh, here's the Scene 7 images finally showing up. But it's a highly complex site, and once you've customized something as much as we have, everything that you do can have possible interactions with other modules you've already implemented, with extensions that you've implemented, and that can be a real financial drain on a small company. And so Magento 2's kind of architecture and making it more extendable like that, and making it so that every time we have to do an upgrade, it's not like, oh boy, it's going to interact with everything that we just built, and it's going to cost a fortune to upgrade. Our expectation is that we're going to be able to keep up to date with those upgrades a lot more than we have been able to in Magento 1, which is great because, I mean, obviously from a security standpoint, that's really important if it's a security patch, but also from a standpoint of getting the latest feature set. I mean, for example, in Magento 1.14 and now in Magento 2, there's the visual merchandiser, and we actually had to pay for that as an extension, which, by the way, I love. I can speak a little bit to that in a second. But I would have loved to have just upgraded to 1.14, but it was too expensive to go through that upgrade when that new feature came out. So I think that's kind of my number one vision 2020. Wow, that's getting so close now. But what I'm really excited about.
Okay. And I mean, it's a great story. I mean, a true startup. We've been working together a number of years for sure. The product configurators, I mean, it's just a really exciting aspect of of your site. One of the things I wonder from your business perspective is how you manage that and keep it current and truly, and how do you see Magento 2 helping to enable that? Yeah.
It's a great question. I mean, you can imagine the amount of data that we're handling with a very small team of 7 is crazy. So one of the things that's going to be great in Magento 2, Magento 1, we had to kind of handle 2 different types of products. We had bundled products, which literally we could not upload because the MagMe version of uploading bundled products was very glitchy and caused a lot of issues for us. So we had to be doing a lot of that by hand. So that's going to be huge. Now being able to upload all that data takes a lot off my admin team. And just the entire admin in general, like Kaushal spoke to, the fact that it's a lot faster, that's a huge deal. When you're managing that amount of data, we do new releases of fabrics every couple months. We have 10,000 different inspirations. So it's just a lot to handle with a small team, and we're really excited about the administrative improvements to be able to handle that data, to be able to upload that data faster, more efficiently, and in some cases to be able to upload it all is huge. The other big aspect I would say is previously we had to have a bundled product for our custom product. So this is what we would consider a custom product. You start with a blank white silhouette, and then you say, oh, I want this fabric, I want this border, I want this size, et cetera, et cetera. But we also have what we call inspirations, which you won't find on beta, but if you go on to our regular site, you'll kind of see what I mean. And that's essentially like a shoppable catalog, like any site you go to, except for that you can customize anything you see. So you can order as is, or you can say, no, I want to make a change. I want a different back. I need a special size, that sort of thing. And the way we're able to architect the database, because it's so much more robust, is really going to simplify that process. Right now, we have to maintain a bunch of different Excel spreadsheets, basically, to upload all that data. And now we're going to be able to do it kind of on the fly in the back end of Magento, which is going to be a huge improvement for us.
Just to give everyone a sense of the complexity of a product, and what I've pulled up here is one of the bundle products, and all these options that you see here, this is the front. What fabric do you want on the front, and all these are different characteristics of that particular configurable option. So again, like I said, the pricing was complex. All this, earlier in 1.x, it was very difficult to create all these options. In 2.0, this has been made much, much easier. So we have front and, all the fabrics that go on the front, the trim type and all the, there are also dependencies between these options. So again, in version 1, it wasn't possible. We used to show all the possible fabrics for front, all for the trim, and so on. So, people would end up creating very, very awkward designs or weird looking designs, which, Ashley did not like. So now we have these dependencies created. So if someone so for example, on the front, if I choose a particular, maybe say a solid color, then my options for the trim are limited. And all those dependencies we were able to create using this, all these different options. So you see here, so I can choose what my dependency is, for front and so on. And I can define all those rules. And so again, looking at all these options, front, trim type, bottom color block, and all of these you see on the front end as well. So when I'm designing this product, let me go to the front, and I can apply a fabric here. And once I do this, then my options change for the second one. And then what do I want to do for my bottom color block? The options come up here. Yeah. So I can choose it accordingly.
Yeah, and just to dovetail on that, if you can go back to the admin for a second, this was a really huge benefit. Being able to more seamlessly and more easily customize the native aspects of the way Magento worked. And in our old system, we used to have to go from a bundled option to like a special custom module we built, and we were managing data in both places. So it was a lot of flipping back and forth in the admin. Now it's all in one place, and it's very intuitive for an admin. Like, oh, I want to change something about this step in the bundled product kind of flow. That's where I'm going to go and change that data. I don't have to think, well, where is that again? It's in this special table over here in a totally separate place. And I think that's facilitated a lot by kind of the new Magento architecture.
Nice. So I don't mean to put you on the spot because I haven't talked to you since the keynote this morning, but I'm kind of curious what your reaction is to the new Magento Enterprise Cloud offering.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I just negotiated a new hosting agreement. But I'm pretty excited about that. I think the two things that I thought were really interesting about it, one, the built-in CDN, I think is really interesting. I don't know how much it'll affect us because effectively Scene 7 acts as a CDN for us. Mm-hmm. But I think, for a lot of merchants, that's great. Especially as a smaller company, it's nice to be able to handle potentially one provider rather than having, my hosting provider and then a CDN provider and then a security provider and, all of these different providers. When you have 7 people, like we don't even have a technical CTO. I'm a CEO and kind of a CTO too. So it's just a lot to have to handle all of that. So I'm excited about the CDN. I also liked the fact that that had the built-in security features. I thought that was really interesting. So I'm, next step, I guess, is I'm interested to see how the pricing compares to what we currently have with our managed service agreement from a hosting perspective. But it could be, it could be a game changer. It could make things a lot easier for merchants.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.